environmental control. So that's generally stuff pertaining to keeping Delaware healthy, keeping the ecosystems clean, making farming safe, or just anything relating to farming. It's pretty simple. All of these are pretty self-explanatory. You have education. Everybody here, we're all students. That relates to us. You know what that deals with. There's the economic development and finance. So that's just going to be like tax law. If somebody did the gas law bill get passed last year?
Yes.
Yeah, all right, so never mind. But anyway, tax laws, stuff promoting economic growth, small business policies, and stuff along those lines. Then you have the health and social services, which again, pretty self-explanatory. If it has to do with hospitals or maybe low-income housing or whatever it may be. Then you have your judiciary committee dealing with the courts and the court system, stuff along those lines. You have labor, dealing with producing jobs or unions, whatever that may be. You have transportation, trains, buses, cars, maybe even road infrastructure. You have your corrections, safety, and homeland security. So if you have legislation dealing with inmates, prisons, Delaware public security, stuff along those lines. And finally, technology. I believe that's one of the new ones I added this year. So, for example, last year you saw one where somebody wanted to implement charging stations for electric cars, and that could fall under the transportation one, or it could fall under technology. So anything promoting new technologies in Delaware would fall under that one. So how do you become a secretary? So first of all, and most importantly, you have to exhibit the 4 core values and leadership skills in the YMCA. You have to submit an application to the state director, or just give it to your adult advisor, and then they'll turn it in. And those are due February 8th, so they're technically due, I think it says in the manual, the week of February 1st, whenever your delegation may meet. And then you have to be appointed by the youth governor, so I'm going to sit down with Sam and some other leaders and try to pick through the applications. And then...
That's actually not true. I have no say over that.
Really?
I will give you them. Jared has 100%. No adults choose any of them.
Okay.
So you know.
I have absolute authority over them. And I believe if we don't have enough applications, if one position doesn't have any applicants, we pick others.
Yeah, usually you can call people and ask them to apply.
Yeah, okay, so that's about it. It's a pretty simple process. Next slide. So your secretary duties, first, and this is kind of in chronological order of after you figure out that you're appointed. So first of all, you have to become an expert in the topic of your department, and then eventually the legislation that pertains to it. Next, you have to attend a leadership training conference on March 28th. This isn't necessarily mandatory, but it's going to be very valuable to attend this for the cabinet members if you're not serving another leadership position.
This is where you work.
Yeah. Okay. So for the cabinet members, if you're not holding another leadership position, your main duty during this meeting is going to be 1, learning bill ranking procedure, as the cabinet members are the ones who lead bill ranking, and that will be taught later, but it'll be great to learn it early. And then also you're going to be helping separate the bills into their different topics. So whatever, all the cabinet leaders are going to sit down, they're going to go through the bills, and if it's a gun law, it might be go into homeland security and stuff along those lines. So you're going to help me out in picking those. Okay, next duty, you're going to complete a bill evaluation on legislation relating to your departments. So it's just going to be a short brief stating your opinion and discussing the bill with the author, stuff along those lines. You're going to act as the chair for bill ranking, as I said before, and you're going to fulfill normal delegate requirements. Now, I don't believe there's any official restriction on this, but for cabinet members, it's probably best if you're a legislator, just so that you can actually sit in during sessions and debate, learn about the bills, actually get to have your say. So, okay, there's a restriction. Okay, so anyway, just legislative delegates are best for this position. And then, so you're going to meet with me and the rest of the cabinet. Hopefully, I think usually there's about 1 meeting. I'd like to have a couple more, but depending on the schedule, that may not be possible. But the whole cabinet will get together at some point in time and discuss legislation and discuss the conference. And then I'm going to be calling on all of my cabinet members, my secretaries, to help advise me when specific legislation comes through. Since they will be an expert on that area, if a bill comes through and it relates to that, I'm definitely going to reach out to them and have a conversation with them about that bill. So now you have the chief of staff, which I guess is sort of like a leader for the cabinet, but also serves as a sort of like personal assistant and just a huge figure for the youth governor to lean on. And so you get to do a whole different, you get to do a bunch of different things, scheduling matters, dealing with press releases, management of the cabinet, management of the page corps, and like I said, advising the youth governor on different points. So how do you become the chief of staff? It's pretty much exactly the same as your different secretaries. However, you have to have 1 year of being experience, and like we said before, you have to serve in the legislative branch. And so, again, just very important that 1, you exhibit leadership skills, and 2, you exhibit the 4 core values of the YMCA. And then, again, the application is due the week of February 1st or February 8th is the official due date. And then, again, I will be appointing the chief of staff from all those applicants. There's only 1. Okay, so the duties for the chief of staff, you're going to aid me in planning and scheduling leadership events, press releases, and then the executive record / document organization. So once the chief of staff is selected, and this should be done around March, you're going to help me plan subcommittee meetings, help plan the conference, help plan the governor's mansion meet and all that. And then attend the governor's leadership retreat, April 9th, which is what I just mentioned, manage the cabinet. And then managing the cabinet can deal with counting votes, seeking advice, direct policy, giving the opinion, or helping, ask up for opinions and ask for different points by the cabinet. And then you're going to run the president of the Senate elections once they happen. And then once you're actually at conference, like I said, this is basically in chronological order, you're going to provide legislative updates, you're going to speak pro on behalf of me on certain bills, and this is done during the lobbyist speaking time. And so this isn't going to be exercised too much. Obviously we don't want the youth governor having too much say on certain on bills, but for certain legislation, if the youth governor finds it particularly important, the chief of staff will be used to give a pro speech. And as of right now, the chief of staff cannot give a con speech. And then, like I said before, the chief of staff will manage the executive page corps, and they're going to advise the youth governor on policy decisions. I know Phoebe and Matt Cassidy had long, lengthy conversations about different bills as they came through, and so just helping me decide whether to pass or veto a bill, the different pros and cons, everything that goes along with that. And so that's it.